Enough of that stuff. Let's play hockey.
Langlois shoots it off the boards. Bob Baum lets it drive to go. Scores! Bob Baum let it go. It bounced in front and went into the net.
Back it comes to LaPerriere. Winds up with a shot. Who's fucking double net? They score! Belleville.
Back to Andre Dupont. Dupont takes the shot.
Here's Robinson dashing in. Robinson cutting in a goal. Loses it. Now McDonald gets it. He takes the shot.
And Zazzle takes the puck away from Robitaille. Robitaille gets it back center. They score!
Tonight on the sunset side of North America, the dawn of a new NHL season at last. The National Hockey League opens on 8 fronts. Our cameras are on 2 sites. At Los Angeles, it's Matt Sundin and the Maple Leafs against the Los Angeles Kings. And we're here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, where the #1 team in Canada a year ago, the Vancouver Canucks, are being introduced, and it was a nice ovation for Pavel Bure and for Trevor Linden. The Canucks will host the Dallas Stars in their season premiere. It's been 216 days since the New York Rangers hoisted the Stanley Cup at Madison Square Garden in New York. The hockey lockout, well, the sport's never seen anything like it, and ultimately the same will be said of the sprint to the playoffs. That's a 48-game season beginning tonight. Good evening and welcome to Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. I'm Ron Maclean. With tonight, we begin a very ambitious 5.5 months. There'll be a lot of bonus games, doubleheaders every Saturday in the regular season beginning tomorrow, Sunday matinees, and of course, as always in the Stanley Cup playoffs, wall-to-wall coverage. And that's a bit of our theme this evening. When last we met, June 14, 94, it was the Rangers home to the Vancouver Canucks. We'll anchor our coverage from Vancouver, but we'll take you now to something that happened moments ago at Madison Square Garden. The New York Rangers celebrated with their fans the end of 54 years of futility. That was the scene at 8 o'clock ET. Mark Messier, the first man ever to be a captain of championship teams in 2 cities, in '90 with Edmonton and now in '94 with the New York Rangers. They hoisted the banner, and a special bit of news out of New York today from the Rangers and league office. They've said that Mike Hartman and Ed Olczyk will have their names engraved on the Stanley Cup. They played last year, Hartman in 37 games, Olczyk in 35. Neither played in the final. The rule was you had to play in 40 regular season games or make an appearance in the Stanley Cup final. But they've decided the rule doesn't make any sense in view of their contribution to the Rangers' success a year ago. So they'll have their names engraved on the Stanley Cup when it goes back to Toronto. And they presented it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame will celebrate Minor Hockey Week in Canada beginning tomorrow with $4.50 admission across the board. So if you have a chance, you can go by and see the Cup, which is making its return. Meantime, here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, it's the Canucks who are trying to make a return for the Stanley Cup Championship, something not easily done for a runner-up. It's only happened twice since expansion. In 1984, the Oilers got back after having lost to the Islanders and beat them to win their first Stanley Cup. Boston Bruins got back to the final in 1978 after having been beaten by the Montreal Canadiens, and to Don Cherry's chagrin, they lost again. But nonetheless, it was a great run, one which we celebrated on Hockey Night Classics. Now, we're looking to the future, and we're going to take you to ice level for a presentation of the Western Conference Championship banner. Arthur Griffiths, the chairman, governor, and CEO of Northwest Entertainment Group, the parent company of the Canucks, will be joined by their first captain ever, Orland Kurtenbach. And does he look tremendous? He was the man who wore the C in that inaugural season of 1970-71. Orland will be joined by Arthur Griffiths and by Trevor Linden, the current champ. Well, sometimes even banner ceremonies have a few hang-ups. The fans at the Pacific Coliseum celebrate a team cut from the same cloth as the edition of 1982. So the Western Conference champions and the Stanley Cup champions celebrate tonight. We are going to bring you two games. Viewers from Saskatchewan East will see the Toronto Maple Leafs at the Los Angeles Kings, and for viewers in Alberta and British Columbia, we're pleased to present the Dallas Stars at Vancouver Canucks. That's up next when we start our season of Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. For now, let's head south to Inglewood, California, where the Kings and Leafs are set to launch their seasons. Your host in Los Angeles is Ken Daniels. Ken.
Here in LA, the big story has been all the rain. It was nice for a few days, but the storms are back, so 16,000 have come in out of the rain to create their own thunder here inside. Hello again, everyone. This is the first of 4 trips the Leafs will make to the Pacific Coast this shortened season. When you talk about the Leafs being in a zone, well, you're probably referring to time zone, but this has been something the LA Kings have had to endure, well, ever since 1967. So when it comes to travel, it's a case of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And neither of these two teams here tonight minded making off-season moves. One went for will, the other for skill, the latter being the Maple Leafs. Yes, the Leafs were the only team to make it back to the conference final the last 2 years running. While that was good, it wasn't good enough. The talent level needed upgrading, and on draft day in Hartford, the twosome that brought the Leafs this far decided a facelift was in order. It started with Matt Sundin and Garth Butcher from Quebec in the blockbuster Wendell Clark deal. 7 months later, 8 new faces now dot the lineup, and Cliff Fletcher took various routes to get them through trades, free agency, and through a waiver signing. All with a purpose, all to upgrade the skill level on this Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team.
Well, we knew that. We ended up in the Final Four 2 years in a row, but we didn't think maybe that might happen again. We needed some little bit more scoring power behind Doug Gilmour, and not only for now, but for the future also. We wanted to make this team competitive for a long time. We made some trades. We've acquired some players that we feel will make this team competitive for a long time.
As we look at Doug Gilmour, Pat Burns can't have him playing 40 minutes a night anymore, although he would if he let him. Gilmour with 238 points the past 2 seasons. Only the Bruins' Adam Oates with more than that. In LA, there were head shakes, not handshakes last season. Wayne Gretzky missing the playoffs for the first time in his career, and this after the Kings had made it to the Cup final a year earlier. New GM Sam McMaster agreed with his coach. Size a key requirement, and LA has gone king size to have a fighting chance. Change is obvious. Marty McSorley reacquired from Pittsburgh. Rob Blake, the all-star on defense. Rick Tocchet hoping his back woes are behind him. All these players, a presence that may strike fear into opponents and strikes a chord with Barry Melrose. He complained a lot last year that size was a problem.
Well, actually, I've complained for 2 years, so we've certainly gone a long way. We've added Marty McSorley back, we've added Michel Petit, we've added Rick Tocchet, we've added Matt Johnson, who's 6'5", 230, we've added Troy Crowder, 6'4", 230, we've added Kevin Todd, a very hard-nosed kid, we've added Dan Quinn, we've added Eric Lacroix from Toronto, who I really like this kid. I think he's going to be a big, big player for us. So we're going to be a lot different club and a lot harder to play against than we have been the last 2 years.
The changes were obvious when you consider this. Wayne Gretzky won his 10th scoring title last year, an excellent season. After, remember, he hinted at retirement, and the Kings still missed the playoffs. Gretzky can't be a one-man show, but of all the goals Gretzky has, he has one persistent goal left, the drive to win another Stanley Cup. The Toronto Maple Leafs waiting in the hallway while the Kings are being introduced, and for their thoughts, let's go to their broadcast location in the middle of the forum. Here are Bob Cole and Harry Neal.
Thank you, Ken, and good evening again, everybody. Well, as they introduce these Los Angeles Kings, Harry, let's talk about them for a moment. They had 322 goals scored against them last year. Only 2 teams that were worse, Winnipeg and Quebec. Obviously, they have to think defense.
Without question. I don't care how much bigger they are, how much faster they are, how many more goals they've got. They got to give Kelly Rudy a chance to get rid of these kind of statistics. They will go nowhere making Rudy work that hard. 40 shots on goal, 21 times. Impossible for Kelly Rudy to be as good as we know he is.
Talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, We'll talk about them in a moment. What about backing up for Gretzky now? We all know he's going to score. What about behind him?
Well, last year, Gretzky had 130 points, and the three other centers on the Kings had 48. Robert Long, number 13, is the guy they're counting on to give them a second line, so Gretzky's not up to his waist in good checkers. He's got lots of skill. The question is for Long, the Czechoslovakian, can he wade through the attention he's going to get?
Well, they're introducing now, guess who? 99.
It is remarkable record book, becoming the NHL's all-time leading goal scorer with goal number 802. The holder of 61 league records and now a 10-time NHL scoring captain, the captain, number 99, Wayne Gretzky.
For the commercial. And when we come back to the Great Western Forum, we'll have the anthems and period 1 of game 1. Stand by.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Brought to you by Molson Special Dry, a world without aftertaste. And by Ford of Canada.